think B2B sales deals with one target audience, which is the B2B entrepreneurs or the B2B companies, I'll tell you what is the main mistake that you make. Especially when you take the B2B segment, it's broadly categorized into two main segments. One is a B2B founder-centric companies and the other one is a B2B enterprises, or the one where there is a chain of command or multiple decision makers involved. Now, in both these cases, if you take a founder-centric market versus a one with multiple chain of command, the way in which decisions are made or the way in which the sales pitches are made are drastically different. If both of these audiences are in your sales funnel, I'll tell you how exactly you should make that pitch and how to close the deal. Hi, I am Saranya Narayana Moorthy. I am a B2B strategic marketer and a high-ticket sales consultant, and I help B2B professionals and B2B entrepreneurs to generate leads, transition into the high-ticket segment, and acquire and sign clients in the B2B segment. So if you're here to learn more about how you can acquire more customers in the B2B space or how you can establish your brand, then this is exactly the channel that you should be following. Stay tuned, subscribe, and now let's speak more about how you can approach the founder-centric market versus the enterprise market separately. First of all, let's go with the founder-centric market. Now here, firstly, I want you to understand what type of audience you're looking at. So now here, if you see, there is one or two people who are the decision makers. And if you clearly analyze their psyche, these are people who are wholly invested and they are investing money from their own pockets rather than from the company's fund. Now, this plays a major role in the kind of decisions they make as well. Because to convert a bootstrapped founder is a whole different thing than converting a C-suite decision maker in a boardroom company. Now, in this scenario, let's see what should be done. So, when you're creating a sales funnel for founder-centric market, you would be mainly focused on what has been the growth of those founders versus what is something that they're looking forward to do. Now here, let us say you are taking two approaches. One is outbound marketing, other is an account-based marketing. Now when you go account-based marketing, you're choosing certain companies based on their growth scale, based on let's say the potential that they have, or most essentially the next milestone that they are planning. So generally these are the cases under which you will choose one specific company to go with an ABM marketing, right? So when you are choosing this and when you are approaching the founder, ensure to have more reasons that emotionally back him up. What I mean by this is, see more about what has been the growth strategies that particular founder has put in for the period until now. Let's say from the time this brand was conceived until right now, what has been his strategy or what has been his points of focus. Based on this, have a clear axial diagram of strengths and weaknesses and what are the pros and cons of the existing approaches. Now based on this, create 2 to 3 mock strategies and some demonstrations on how exactly, if they can follow your strategy or you're working with them, how will the blend be between their existing brand style versus how what you are bringing to the picture. Now, when you're working on an ABM model, you will most certainly go only with those companies or only with those cases where the ticket size is higher, right? So, when you're going on this high ticket segment, ensure to have a clear customer experience module so that you are able to establish a better relationship with them on top of making an impression. So now, let's say if you're giving a pitch for 20 to 30,000 USD. So in this case, when you're first reaching out to them, you wouldn't be reaching out to them with the context of, let's say, maintaining a fake relationship just because you can pitch in the end. You will go to them straight with a proposal. So this is something I can help you with. Can we have a discussion? Now, when you keep things straightforward, you maintain a level of transparency with the prospect on the other end, and this gives you a sense of credibility. If you have seen a lot of marketers, they think you need to build a relationship before you pitch. So even though they do not have any intention of building a real relationship, they actually go behind the person trying to fake it. Trust me, over 90% of the time, this is explicitly visible when a person does it. So unless you really wanted to build a relationship with a prospect, don't really approach them in that context. Give them a straight pitch, and trust me, if they are really looking forward to a solution, they'll most certainly actually have a conversation with you. So once after this, from here, when you give them an initial pitch, show them a clear demonstration of your research backed up with analytics, stats and the future plan. Now, do not start with the research first. Start them from a future plan and give them a why you chose this future plan as your research and stats. Now, when you do it this way, you are able to present your pitch, put them in a phase that if you are someone who understood all of their historic plans, if you did a clear analysis, this is a chance that your pitch is actually working for them. So, this will also establish a context on okay, this person has actually done it and I can trust this person. So it gives you a trust context while also putting them in a phase where they will listen to you because they are not forced to actually say, you know what, we have tried this. Because you would have already told them what they tried, right? Good one. So when you're doing on an ABM approach, always choose this method when you directly give a pitch to the prospect and give them a historical analysis and a future plan. It really works. Now, let's say if you're doing an outbound approach, wherein you're not specific towards one prospect, but you're mass outreaching 100 to 200 prospects. In this case, before choosing someone who is just a B2B business owner or a B2B entrepreneur or in a specific segment or in a specific style of company, choose based on any one area of their interest which is not really explicit. Like in general, what we do is when I'm connecting with people whom I help them to grow their business online, many B2B business entrepreneurs, if you see, over 75% they use LinkedIn. But we don't just reach out to anyone and tell them, see, LinkedIn is something that you can get your leads with. Because we are not focused just on LinkedIn, we are focused on building a sales funnel using LinkedIn. So when we do this, one of the prerequisites for us is that particular prospect that we're speaking to, that entrepreneur, should have an interest in growing in LinkedIn. He should believe that LinkedIn is something you should grow on. So only when that belief system is already instilled in them, it becomes easier for us to make a sale. So what we do, we identify B2B business owners who are already interested in growing their LinkedIn. Now how do we do that? That is where intent comes in. So when we map that intent right, that this is how the person is actually interested in a particular subject, and when we map towards it, when we cater our pitch according to what his previous interests were, trust me, if you find 1,000 people with one similar interest, one pitch actually caters to everyone. You don't need to make separate pitches at every single point because it's one pitch that matches everywhere. So you have it covered there, right? So this way, finalize one pitch message that goes to all these 1,000 people and set up subsequent follow-up messages as well. Because when you have subsequent follow-up messages, you can ensure that the person on the other end is able to get a very clear idea that you have done your homework, you know exactly what this person wants, and only those with experience can actually get it right. So this not just establishes your interest and your commitment, but also establishes your authority, expertise, and experience. Pretty good deal, right? So when you're reaching out to founders specifically, go more from an emotional aspect. Ensure to build a relationship with them by mapping out their interest and historic analysis. Through this method, until now, the main points that I want you to note down is, we have not talked about logic, we have not talked about anything greater in terms of trends or strategies or so on, but we have worked morely towards their interest and more towards what that person is keen on. So this is what gives you a one-to-one connection and ensures that you are maintaining a relationship with a prospect without just focusing on the exterior or the primitive style of building relationships. So when you map their interests clearly, they already know you are someone who understands them. Clear, right? So this way, when you go from a person to person, you are able to establish a relationship and build a rapport in the founder-centric market. Now, shift it towards the enterprise segment. How do you approach companies who have multiple decision makers? Now, in this case, the one point I want you to clearly map out is, like how we took out a certain persona and we worked it out in the founder-centric market, when it comes to the enterprise segment, the main connecting node is a company. The company that they are working with. So if you take one account, which is one company, I would recommend choosing at least around 70 to 80 people within the same company. Now, this is under an assumption that you're choosing an organization which has multiple centers, multiple establishments throughout the world. Like, let's say if you're identifying a company which has upwards of 12 to 15 lakhs employees spread across the world, or at least upwards of 1 to 2 lakh employees, it shouldn't be a Herculean task for you to map out 70 to 80 decision makers whom you can speak to. Now ensure that they are from multiple departments and especially in multiple hierarchy within the organization. few from the C-suite, few from the senior management, few from the middle management, and very few in the entry level. So why do you need an entry level person? They help you to penetrate into the organization and actually make an impact. Or in other words, they make your voice seem heard. So even though your target is a C-suite executives, maintain a funnel or maintain an organizational map so that you are able to approach many of them. Now, what happens next after you map out all these personas? You create a clear distinction of what is the growth curve or what is the highlights of this company investing in your process. Let's say if this company invests in you, if they buy from you, who are the people who benefit the most? Who are the people whose work might be affected, or who are the ones who get the highest credit? Now, depending on this, frame your messages with respect to the intent. Now, before you pitch to them, the main reason that you're supposed to be pitching, or one of the main reasons they will listen to you, is when this product or service that you're selling has a very high value add to the company that they are working in. So clearly map on what will be the before and after for the company and for that employee if your service is brought into picture. Now, when it comes to the company perspective, you know, right, what will be the transformation for the company after they invest in you. Now, after that, remember we mapped the intent for every employee. Let's say for the C-suite, what is the intent? For the senior management, what is the growth curve? For the middle management, what is the credit they get? And for the entry management, how will their job be easier? So now create a pitch message which combines the benefit to the company and the benefit to the employee, merge it together, and this pitch message goes to the respective employees from a sales funnel. Now this way, let's say if you're taking 60 to 80 employees within one company, and if you're able to replicate this between a few competitors, in one shot, you are able to reach out to at least around 300 to 400 prospects within 4 to 5 accounts or 4 to 5 organizations, and whoever takes the conversation, you can continue it from the thread of what you started. So this way, if you actually see the main difference between how we did this versus how we did in the founder-centric market, in a chain of command, we were more focused on the logical or the career growth or more on analytics and numbers, and we did not really look into the emotional perspective. We did not do an in-depth research because in this case, it's more about what interests that particular person and what credits they're getting from that point in time. The historic analysis doesn't hold a higher weightage here. But when it comes to the founder-centric market, knowing where they are from or the curve of evolution is what holds the highest weightage. So trust me when I say this. When you take B2B sales, it's not just about knowing what a B2B sales is, knowing what prospecting is, knowing what a buyer persona is. All of these wouldn't add up if you miss the main aspect of what makes a prospect convert. So know clearly on what that person is interested in, know clear on what is the interest that you are in, and this way, you will be able to make your sales much faster. So now, if you're looking forward to strengthen your B2B lead generation, brand positioning, high-ticket transition, high-ticket customer acquisition, or building your sales pipeline and your sales system, either in terms of one-on-one coaching, private trainings, your employee trainings, or your C-suite mentorship, do reach out to me on LinkedIn or by email, and we can get in touch. In the meantime, if you're looking forward to learn more about B2B sales, B2B marketing, and how you can elevate the standard of how you're selling, ensure to subscribe to this channel and turn on the notifications so that you don't miss a video. So until the next time, signing off for now, Saranya Narayana Moorthy.